Hi, fourth graders. So for math today, you are going to need your math notebook, a glue stick, and your math book. You should have a new one, okay? My distance learning friends, those were on the table, so we're in volume 2. We're not going to do this one in order. We're going to kind of skip around a little bit with volume 2, because I think it makes more sense in the way that we're going to do it, okay? So go ahead and get to this page glued into your notebook for me. There should be 2 with them if you want to do them on their own or side by side. Print them off 2 on one page, whatever works for you. All right, so let's take a look through our page. We're talking about number sequences or numbered patterns. Another word for sequence is patterns. Now, when you hear rules, we talked about in class, like it's something that you have to do, right? Like a classroom rule are things that you have to do. In math, sometimes there are rules too, things that you have to do. Most of the time, they'll tell you right up what the rule is. You don't have to guess at all, okay? So let's look at our definition. A rule is a mathematical, we're going to say phrase, like a short sentence that tells how when we're doing like patterns, we know we can have it with numbers or shapes. Phrase that tells how the numbers / meaning or shapes in a pattern are related. Okay, so we're using this phrase that tells us how they are related, what we're going to do to each part of it. So let's look here at our example. The house numbers on a street follow the rule of add 4. So we know what we have to do. We have to add 4. If the pattern continues, what are the next 3 numbers? Describe a feature of the pattern. So first we know we're going to have to add 4 numbers to find out what the next 3 numbers are. But then it also tells us to describe a feature of the pattern. So let's look through first and figure out what the next 3 house numbers are. Well, we know 16, and our rule tells us to add 4. So 16 plus 4 is 20. And then we keep adding 4 off of that, 20. 4 more would be 24. And the last one, 28. Good. So now, that's part 1. We figured out the next 3 numbers. Check. But we also need to describe a feature of the pattern. That just means, what do you notice in it? Be as specific as we can. Don't just tell me there are 4 numbers. What about the numbers? How are they related to each other? And don't tell me they go up by 4, because we know that from the rule. What do you notice is happening to the numbers? Our pattern is increasing, right? The numbers are getting bigger. What else do you notice about them? They're all even numbers, aren't they? I can think of one more. If I look through, I notice that these are all multiples of 4. Because our pattern was to add 4. But I notice if I would multiply by 4, that works too. I could multiply 4 times 4, 4 times 5, 4 times 6, 4 times 7. Nice. All right, let's look through this one. This one's kind of like somebody's a little sus. Somebody doesn't belong. Somebody's an imposter. Rudy's rule is to add 2. He started with 4 and wrote these numbers below. Which number does not belong to Rudy's pattern? Explain. All right, take a look through there. Who's sus? 4 sus? No, we started with 4. We need to remember our rule of adding 2. 2 plus 4 would be 6, all right? 6 plus 2 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. Did you see that? 9 is our sus one. Oh, he's the imposter. 9 does not belong. Why does 9 not belong? What happened? What did Rudy do after 8? Oh yeah, Rudy added 1 instead of 2. So to go from 8 to 9, we add 1. When we should have skipped 9 and just made it 10. So be careful. Sometimes there's some sus ones who don't belong. Don't add any on your list. Don't do the wrong thing. Don't make any sus. Let's look through. I'm going to show you how to do 2 of our types of problems. Okay? So, down here, what we need to do is first continue the pattern. Then we're going to describe a feature. So notice how there's space underneath. You're going to describe a feature. So first we're going to subtract 6. 48, 42, 36, 30, 24, 18. Let's see, 18 minus 6. Oh yeah, that's 12. And 12 minus 6 is 6. Ooh, all right, so we did part 1. Check. Describe a feature. What do you notice about these guys? Well, I'm kind of thinking in my head, I noticed 6, 12, 18, 24. Those are all multiples of 6. If I go through my multiples of 6, I can land on all of these. You might have also noticed that this time our pattern is decreasing. It's getting smaller. Use those math terms, increasing, decreasing. Okay? All right, so that's what you're going to have to do on the next page for part of it. The other part is going to be use the rule to generate or to make each pattern. So this time we're going to add 11. So we start at 16. Add 11. Well, 6 plus 1 is 7. 1 plus 1 is 2. 27. 27 plus 11 is 38. 38 plus 11 is 49. Awesome. So this time you don't need to describe a feature, but if it helps you to see the patterns, go ahead and do it. You don't have to, though. So what we did then is we had some work time in class, and we did these 3. The first 3, continue the pattern. Describe a feature. Don't forget to describe a feature for each one. Then down here, 4, 5, 6, and 7, you had to use the rule to generate each pattern. Now let's take a look at number 6 first. This one is actually 2 different steps, so don't do them together. That's my hint. I want to see if you can figure that one out. They're almost like 2 different rules. First, then. First, then. Think of it as 2 different number spots, okay? And then 2 word problems to practice. So pause the video while you work on numbers 1 through 9, and unpause the video when you're ready to check those out. All right, so let's take a look through. So we have to continue the pattern of subtracting 3. 21, 18, 15, next 15, 14, 13 should be 12. And then 12 minus 3 is 9. What's a feature that you noticed? All multiples of 3. You might have also noticed, we talked about in class, it is an even / odd pattern too. Or sorry, odd / even. 21, 18, 15, 12, 9. Meaning our next one should be even if we do it correctly. 9 minus 3 is 6, and it is even. All right, let's look at the next one. Adding 7. 4, 11, 18. So I'm going to add 10, 28, and take away 3. 28, 27, 26. I should have 25. Same thing. I'm going to make it 35, 34, 33, 32. What's a pattern we notice here? Well, here I also note this time it's an even odd pattern. And this time our pattern is increasing. Might have been another thing that you noticed. I think, does your observation work for all of the numbers? And the last one was a pretty straightforward, just 2 missing numbers, 20. Ooh, all right, and 25. And you might have noticed here, these are all multiples of 5. or it increases. Our pattern is increasing here. Good. All right, finish the rule. Use the rule to finish the pattern. Subtracting 10 should be 80, and then 70. Finishing the pattern over here, adding 11, 27, and 28. You might have noticed that was the same one as the top one. Now, this one is a little different. First, it told us to add 2. So we do 96, and we add 2 to make 98 for our first number. Now we look at that subtract 1. 98 minus 1 is 97. Pause and think if you didn't get it. What should our next number be? We're going to add 2 again, so we should be at 99. And how do we figure out our last one? We're going to subtract 1 to make 98. Good. It's kind of like if I say square circle, right? Square, circle, square, circle, square. I would want to add 2, subtract 1, add 2, subtract 1. And I keep that pattern going. Good. And for this one, subtracting 15. Well, 120 minus 10 would be 110, minus 5 more would be 105. I'm going to take 5 away to make it 100, and take 10 more, and it should be 90. Good. All right, down here, you kind of had to infer what the pattern was first. You had to figure out what the rule was, because it has a pattern. How are you going to figure out what the missing number is? Well, the rule is to add 2, right? 27 to 29, and that continues after. If we look, 33 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. So our missing number here has to be 31. Great. And our very last problem. Rima subtracted 3 as the rule to make a pattern. She started with 60, and she wrote the next 6 numbers in her pattern. So which one does not belong? Well, if you write out 60 minus 3 and you write 6 more times, you would know that 57 and 54 show up on that list, and 45. Would 26 show up in the next numbers? No, it wouldn't. So our answer is D, 26. All right, so that was what we did in math today. Then we had our new math books, and we turned to page 737 and 738, and we circled 2, 4, 5. Up there, you have to finish the pattern and describe it. Make it your observation. 7, 8, 9, and 11, you just have to finish filling in the pattern. And then 13 is a money review problem, something that you should have learned in 2nd and 3rd grade, going over making change. And then 15 is more practice for you. Let me know if you have questions. Take care, friends.